Hello folks, and welcome to Bear Clan's Hiking Sedona podcast. The only podcast you'll get with information detailing all hikes, all kinds of hikes, where to hike, where not to hike, when to hike, and any other piece of information that you could want to hear about hiking Sedona, Arizona. Today's episode is going to be simple. What makes it so special here in Sedona? Ultimately, folks, when everybody drives into Sedona, their jaws drop. They might get emotionally connected to the place, but it's absolutely all about the vistas and the visuals. Everywhere you look when you're driving through Sedona, there are incredible views. With the mastery of formations, unique structures, the colors, the fact that we're green and we're still a desert, there's a lot of details behind why Sedona is so beautiful. The first and foremost thing is the unique red rocks. These are essentially sandstone that has iron oxide in it, which means it's rusted iron inside of a sand-based rock formation. It also means that it can be a little brittle as well. But the red rocks are affected by the sunlight and the shadows and the night sky and sunsets. And that's what really explodes Sedona's views. Sedona is also the separation between the Colorado Plateau and the basin. Flagstaff is the ending point of the Colorado Plateau. There's a rim that was created millions of years ago called the Mogollon Rim. And that rim is roughly about 190 to 200 miles in length. And a long time ago, the land shifted. It created a lift in the Flagstaff area and a sinking in the Sedona area, or in the Mogollon Rim itself. So the Colorado Plateau finishes right there at Flagstaff, and then it drops down into this gorgeous area. And in the middle of those 200 miles, there's this tiny little section of rock formation called Sedona. In the geology aspect of the rocks, there's over 11 layers. There are 11 major layers, but there are over 11 layers of sediment and rock types, creating the geological setup of Sedona. The two visual layers that we deal with the most are the red rocks and the white rocks above them. The red rocks are called the Schnebly Formation, but the sandstone, like I mentioned before, with the iron oxide in it. The white layer is essentially a limestone. These are combining to make what happens in Sedona so magical. So with these two main layers, the other layers are gaps in between, little seams of different color formations, basalt at the very tip top up by the top of the Mogollon Rim, and so on. There's a lot of other structures behind the geology in Sedona. Now, what also makes Sedona insanely impressive is that the city of Sedona, where most people come and visit, is roughly about 19.2 square miles. That's surrounded by over 100 square miles of the red rock formations, which makes it incredible because you're in this tiny little quaint town and all you do is look outside and you go up a little hill or you go up a knoll or you take a hike up on top of a tiny mesa and you will end up seeing over 100 square miles of rock formations and areas to play in. We have over 180 trails here in Sedona as well, which makes us insanely unique. Unlike most other red rock formations around the planet and especially in the United States, most of those locations are turned into national parks or federal land or Native American reservation, so there's limited access to those places. One of the things that happened in Sedona was as soon as people started living here and creating this place as a visitation area, they recognized that there's going to be a lot of entertainment value here in the hiking aspect. So in the early 1900s, even as early as the late 1800s, some trails were being created in Sedona, and we started out with just a handful of trails. Now we have over 180 trails that essentially will get you anywhere you're looking. Like I said at the beginning, we have like 100 square miles of rock formations with over 180 trails. If you do the calculation, folks, that's almost 2 trails per square mile to explore. And those hiking trails range from incredibly easy, flat, simple, 10, 15, 20 minutes to anywhere up to 12 to 16 miles in length one way. And I always tell people it's not about going to the end of the trail. It's about going to as far as you can, then turn around and come back. If you can make it to the end of a trail, great. If you can't, that's still okay. You're not going to be disappointed with Sedona's rock formations. It's almost impossible to take any hike in Sedona and not have some sort of spectacular view or experience. So this is a paradise for fun, it's a paradise for hikers, but at the same time, it's all about safety. Our next podcast is going to be dealing with the safety aspect of hiking Sedona. There's no reason to get you too excited until you really understand the depth of what can happen here. But ultimately, folks, stay on the trail. Everything's going to be fine for you. Our trails are very well marked. They have increased over the last 10 years in the efforts that the Forest Service has put into it, as well as volunteers like myself. I'm part of the Friends of the Forest group that assist the Forest Service. We're not paid by the Forest Service and we're not employed by the Forest Service. But our job is to do what everybody would think would be done here, and that's keep the trails beautiful. We're trying to make sure that people can see where they want to go, they won't get lost, and that, of course, they don't leave behind any messes. Ultimately, Sedona is incredibly beautiful. It's just a gorgeous setup with almost an unlimited supply of adventure. Most folks used to call this the day hiking capital of the United States. Sedona has, in the last couple of years, started to become a destination. People are coming here not to just pass by to go see the Grand Canyon. People are actually coming here to stay here and then go see the Grand Canyon, or whatever else is in northern Arizona, like Flagstaff, Native American ruin sites, observatories, a whole lot of history from the Southwest and the Native American culture. So again, folks, our next podcast is going to be dealing with the safety aspect of hiking in Sedona, and driving in Sedona for that matter. Thank you very much. I hope you join us on the next podcast. Enjoy your day and peace be with you all.